And now we'd like to welcome in Belmont head coach Casey Alexander here on Missouri Valley Media Day here on the field of 68. And Casey, it's good to hear from you, man. You're heading into year 3 as a member of the Missouri Valley Conference. What have you learned in these past 2 seasons now that the Bruins are playing in a different league?
Yeah, we've learned a lot. First of all, I love it. I mean, it's an awesome league. Had really high expectations for it walking into it, and it has not disappointed in any way. I mean, it's a basketball-centric league, as you guys know. Great traditions in this league, a lot of expectations from program to program, and so it's been a lot of fun. We've got some work left to do for sure, but we're getting closer.
So let's give Casey his props on its intro here, Rob. And one of just 6 coaches to win 20 games 8 straight years. I mean, the company is ridiculous, right? Bill Self, Kelvin Sampson, Greg McDermott, Mark Few, Dan Altman, Casey Alexander. That's insane. That is absolutely insane. All right, I want to hit you with one. I didn't call you, but I was in Nashville recently. Quick stop with my daughter celebrating her 21st birthday. So we hit Broadway. I want to know your favorite spot on Broadway because it's the first time I've been to Nashville in, I don't know, 15 years. It's insane over there.
It is insane, and increasingly more and more insane as the days pass. But all right, so I'm 52 years old. I've lived here for 50 years, and so Tootsie's is easily my favorite place on Broadway. It's the original. I'm not one of you young bucks that shows up at all the hot places. I'm the guy that goes.
We did Kid Rock's place. We did Kid Rock's place. I'm kind of more of a rock guy than a country guy, so we did both. But I like Kid Rock's spot.
There's a lot of good places down there. You can't go wrong, honestly.
Yeah, a lot of good music down there as well. I want to hit you on the way that the portal kind of treated you guys, right? Like I think that there's a difficult balance when you're a program like Belmont that can attract some really good players coming out of high school and really good transfers looking for maybe a second opportunity. But there's also the risk where you get them in for 2 years and they're so good that one of the big boys up at a higher level is going to come in and put a number on the table that is too high for them to say no to. How do you balance being a place where you can get players like that while also continuing to develop your program with guys that are 2, 3, 4-year players?
Yeah, well, we're going to continue to sign good high school players, we hope, and guys that are, good enough after their first year or two to play at the highest level and make the kind of money that our guys did. But I think what we learned more than anything is they can't be our stars, and not from me deliberately, not allowing them to play or have those roles. We just have to have some older guys and more experience and some guys that have been around that are also significant contributors. I think that was the unique part about our team last year with Cade Tyson, Jacoby Gillespie, and Malik Dia, who are all 3 sophomores and all-conference players, is that they were our best 3 players.
The good thing is you didn't have any hair before last offseason, Casey, because if you did, you would have lost. I mean, it's true, though. Think about it. Who else watched arguably their 3 best players hit the portal, and again, for a lot more money? There's not much you can really do these days. Have you kind of bought into – I've talked to some coaches, and they're like, you know what? Now I'm almost recruiting kids and telling them, hey, we're going to recruit you. Hopefully you'll play well here, and ultimately we're going to help you get to that next level and make more money. It sounds awful to me, but how have you handled that?
Yeah, I understand that scenario, but no, we have not. We are not treating our recruiting or changing our philosophy to that. We're going to recruit the best players we can that fit Belmont, give them the best experience that we can, win a lot of games, and then let the chips fall where they may. But that's not something that we're actively seeking out. It's the reality of where we are in recruiting that is probably going to happen more times than not, but we're not going to surrender to that just yet.
Well, let's talk about what you do have on your roster because you brought in some transfers that Belmont fans should definitely be excited about. We watched Brody Peebles play last year for Liberty at the Field of 68 tip-off down in Boca Raton against FAU. He's a player. Jonathan Pierre is a guy from Nova Southeastern who won a national championship in 2023. Fun fact, Casey, he was the only guy in D2 6'9" or taller that had more than 100 assists that year that they won the championship. Aiden Noyes, a guy from Richmond who started their first 7 games before an elbow injury. But the guy that I'm really excited about, and I think that you're excited about too, because you said on the record you think he can lead the nation in assists. Is Carter Witt a transfer from Wake Forest, or a Wake Forest transfer that ended up at Furman last season and is now a member of your program? Break down his game for me, and what can Belmont fans expect to see from him?
Yeah, I want him to lead the country in assists. I don't know if he can or not, but that's what I want from him. And he is an exceptional passer when he stays in his lane, and that's really what he's focusing on, is trying to set other guys up. Then he's a really, really dynamic player. We've been extremely pleased with what he's brought to the table. And I do think that, with increased minutes, increased role, all of these guys, anybody that's in the portal, is probably going to play better, and I would expect that from Carter. He was in a tough spot at Furman. Furman's a tremendous program, and that's probably, when you mention those guys individually, I think what goes along with that is if you look at the programs they come from, they are very, very similar to Belmont as far as winning and just also style of play. Nova Southeastern being a little bit of an outlier, but they've won at the highest of levels. So collectively, we brought in some guys that, can plug and play, not because of their extreme talent, but because they really fit who we are.
What are you expecting out of Isaiah Walker? Obviously he comes back, leading returning scorer. He's got to take a jump, doesn't he? I mean, he's kind of the guy that you return that knows the program, knows what to expect from you. You know what to expect from him. What type of jump are you expecting from him?
Yeah, Zay's old school Belmont. I mean, he's the guy, the kind of guy that made our program what it is. Guys that were here for 4 or 5 years, developed over time, saw increasing roles. And that's not just role players. I mean, that's what Ben Shepherd did, and he turned into a first-round pick. That's what Dylan Windler did, and he turned into a first-round pick. And I'm not predicting Isaiah is going to be a first-round pick, but I do expect for him to take another step and to be more impactful on both ends of the floor in more ways than just scoring and, and rebounding. I think he'll be a great leader for us. He gives us the experience and kind of the Belmont factor that we need so desperately.
I want to circle back to Jonathan Pierre just because I think that he feels like the kind of guy that brings a different dynamic in terms of his length, in terms of some of the versatility that he can bring. How do you plan on using him, and what have you seen from him since you've gotten him on campus?
Yeah, I didn't know that assist stat that you threw out there just a minute ago, but I'm not surprised at all. I mean, he is remarkably talented passer, sees the floor. You can put him in ball screens if you want. He can read the defense very, very well. And I think the versatility that you also mentioned is really what his key is. He has legitimate size. He's 6'9". He's as good of a standing shooter as we probably have on our team. He works on that very, very hard. And he can play multiple positions. And so he's a weapon that will be very useful for us in a lot of different ways.
All right, we're going to play a little game here, a little rapid fire game. All right. First, which do you like the most out of these 3 things? I know you love all 3. Dill pickle sunflower seeds, chicken wings, or the Chicago Cubs. Rank them.
I like a 1:20 Friday afternoon start at Wrigley Field where I can take my dill pickle seeds and then I'll go to bleachers when the game is over to get my wings.
That's a good day. Hey, that is a hell of a day, is it not? Especially if the Cubs win. Maybe
an old style in there.
All right. Who is the coach that you are most mistaken for when you walk around the Final Four, any NABC convention or whatnot?
That's a good question. I get mistaken for our soccer coach on campus all the time, or the other way around. I don't know. I'm thinking about all the ball guys. First of all, I keep a low profile when I go to the Final Four, So the guys that come to mind immediately are Randy Bennett, even though he's way older than me. He's old.
It's just the bald factor, right?
Crotchety and all that stuff. But I don't know. You guys have a better guess than I do.
Josh Schertz. Josh Schertz was the name that I was told.
Yeah. I met Josh at midcourt before our game at Indiana State when they pounded us by about 30 last year. And we kind of laughed about that. I said, man, I can see the resemblance here, but the truth is I tower over Josh Schertz. He's like, I'm 5'8", and he's 5'0", and so we're not the same.
All right. The last one. I've been told that nobody is safe around the office, that you will jump out and scare the heck out of people. Give me kind of an example of when you've gotten somebody really good, whether it's a player, a staff member, it could be anybody, your wife?
I'm gonna go way back to when I was a player at Belmont, and I walked out of my room at about 3 in the morning to go to the restroom. It was one of those midnight, late night, got to go take a pee kind of situations. And a teammate in the room next door was just ahead of me. I saw him go into the restroom just ahead of me, and so I immediately went into his room. He was slept on the top bunk of the bunk beds. I got up in the crevice of the bunk bed. Lights are off. All he did was think he was going to the restroom to pee and come back and go back to sleep. And so he jumped on that bed in the middle of the night, and I got him, and it was awesome. Awesome.
That's a good one.
You live for
That
moments
is a
like
good one.
that. Yeah, you should live for
And
moments
nobody's
like
safe now? I mean,
that.
honestly,
No way.
like you'll get people now all the time? Or no?
I go easy on the women. I try hard not to scare the women around the office and so forth, just trying to show some level of maturity. But players, staff, guys like
Go
that,
get Ayers for me.
they're
Do
so
me a
easy.
favor, get Ayers for me again.
He's old. I mean, it could be scary if I got him, in a significant kind of way, because he's getting old.
The last thing we need, Casey, is you giving Goodman ideas on how to mess with people. Listen, we appreciate you being here on Missouri Valley Media Day. We'll be back with more coverage of your favorite college basketball conference coming up next.